Hi, my name's Samuel Leeds. I'm a property investor and developer, and I've been investing in property now for 12 years. I've done over 300 property deals, and I'm going to share in this video my knowledge with you into how you can predict what the end value is going to be on a property. Because if you're doing a property, let's say it's a fix and flip, or let's say you're buying it to add value and then to refinance it, we call those BRRR, Buy, Refurbish, Refinance Rent, or BRRR deals. How do you, this is the golden question to property developers and property investors, how do you predict what the end value is going to be? Because if you buy a property, let's say for £100,000, and you fix it up, and you think once this is done it's going to be worth £200,000, but then it gets downvalued by a valuer, or if you're trying to sell it, no one wants to buy it for £200,000, that's a problem, because it was only worth £200,000 in your mind. In your optimistic, rose-colored glasses mind. And the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs is they do tend to be optimistic. So how do you be realistic rather than optimistic when it comes to the end value? So there's three things that you can do. The first thing that you can do is when you're first looking at the property, let's say it's an auction property, and you're looking at it and you're trying to think, okay, what's the end value? I would approach 3 independent estate agents and say to them, I've got this property, it's on Church Road, this is the property, what do you think the value would be if it was done up nice? What would be the end value? And they'll give you an idea. Now the problem with a lot of property developers is they'll speak to the estate agent that's actually selling the house. Now the estate agent that's selling the house, they'll tell you what you want to hear because they just want to sell you the house. So first thing, speak to 3 independent estate agents and get their advice, because they know they're gonna have a better idea than just about anybody, because that's what they do day in, day out. They sell houses. I used to be an estate agent. I used to work in Great Bar, Birmingham, and I knew the Great Bar area really, really well. So that's the first thing. Speak to 3 independent estate agents, not the one estate agent that's selling you the house. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, do me a massive favor, smash the like button, okay? Smash the like button. Second way is to do your own due diligence. And you can do this by, let's say you've got a property again on Church Road, you go on rightmove.co.uk, and there's other websites you can do this. You can go on mouseprice.com. There are other websites, but what you want to do is you want to look up these sold houses in that street over the last 2 years and try and stick within 1/4 of a mile. Now, if there are no sold properties in that street or within 1/4 of a mile, you can look up to 1/2 a mile, but the further you go away from the house, the less like for like it is. And you want to see what property has sold that's similar to this property within 1/4 of a mile over the last 2 years. And again, if there's nothing that's sold over the last 2 years, maybe look over the last 3 or 4 years. But again, if you start looking at what happened 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, that was a completely different market then, and house prices do change, they do fluctuate. Now, by finding like-for-like comparables yourself, again, really important, don't be optimistic. Don't say, well, this property sold for 100 grand in the street, therefore mine will, because maybe that property had an extension. So you need to be finding a like-for-like. So that's the second thing. Do your own due diligence, find like-for-like properties that sold within the last 2 years within 1/4 of a mile. And then the third thing you can do is, if you really need to know exactly what the end value is going to be, is you can just pay a few £100s to have a valuer go out to the property and tell you what the end value is going to be. Now, they're going to tell you based on the quality of the refurb. So they might say, if the refurb's to a really high standard, the end value is going to be £200,000. And it's important to get an idea of what kind of quality the refurb needs to be done. But that's the third way. If it's a big project and it's potentially a unique property and you're putting a lot of money and a lot of risk into the deal, always get a valuer to go out and tell you what they predict the end value to be. Another little tip is, if you want to be conservative, knock off 10% of what you think the end value will be, of what you think the value is going to be. Knock off 10%, because you do not want to be overly optimistic and then get caught out when the property gets downvalued. So those are the 3 ways. I hope you found this video useful. Get 3 independent estate agents, do your own due diligence and look at local properties that have sold in the area. And If all else fails, get a valuer to go to the property. There are other things you can do as well, and we do go into great detail at the Property Investors Crash Course about how to value a house, how to negotiate the house, and we go through the whole process. So if you've not been to the Property Investors Crash Course, I'd like to give you a free gift. You can come on the house. It's 2 days with me. I'll leave a link in the description. And again, subscribe to the channel, and I hope this has been helpful. I'll see you next time. Thanks.